one of my favorite things to wear. So we are going to talk about hats. Actually going to start more casually and move up the hierarchy. So I'm going to start with the ball cap or the snapback. A lot of purists may not like that I'm including ball caps and snapbacks in the sort of dressing up that I do, but this is my head. I can put whatever head on it that I want, and this is my channel. I can talk about whatever I want. You can do things that are very simple, like this very basic solid colored one, or you can up the ante and have things with more texture, like this. And of course this has bonus points for having a duck on it. Now, of course, the ball cap can be worn more casually, but I will even include it in outfits with sport coats, like this one. Before the purists come at me in the comments for this, I'm gonna do what I want. Too bad. But there is a precedent for this sort of style. It is very popular in that sort of Ivy League strain of dressing. Brooks Brothers, or Tommy Hilfiger, or what's the other one? Ralph Lauren. In the tradition of classic Americana, this can be done. Now, the cap like this does signal that this is a more casual outfit. This isn't something that I would wear to somebody's wedding. They might get upset with me for that, and maybe rightly so. But if you're trying to take in your aesthetic journey, if you are trying to combine more formal and casual elements in a fun and interesting way, this maybe is one way to do it. Now, we're going to move to talk about something that's a little bit more socially accepted in the realm of hats than this. I'm not going to get too deep into discussing all of the different types of these that are available, because there are many different kinds, all with different names. I'm just going to call all of these things flat caps. And even before the advent of shows like Peaky Blinders, the flat cap was very popular in dressing up, because it is one of the most versatile hats that there has ever been. Any person can wear it with just about any outfit. It will work, of course, as you can see, with the sport coat outfit, but it will also work casually, like so. But it can even be worn with a full suit in true Tommy Shelby fashion. By the way, if you are interested in wearing suits in a more casual way like this, we've got a whole thing for that right here. Now we're gonna move up a little more in formality and talk about one of my favorite types of hats, which I have some clarification and opinions about. As we get into the felt hats, of which there are many different kinds, I wasn't going to be nitpicky and pedantic and annoying about the flat caps, but I am going to be nitpicky and pedantic and annoying about this, because this is something that's bothered me for a little while. This here is the classic fedora. It's got a fairly large, some of them are larger, some of them are shorter, but it's got a fairly large upturned brim that's upturned the entire way round. So this is a honest to God fedora. And whenever a lot of people think of hat, or especially a hat that would go with a suit, this is what they are thinking of. Now, what has been called a fedora by idiots online, especially when referring to a certain group of people, is this thing. This sad excuse for a hat. And I don't shame people's aesthetic decisions often, but this is, I have feelings about this. This pathetic excuse for a hat is not a fedora. It is called a trilby, and it has this tiny little sad pathetic brim, and it goes up in the back and down in the front. Detective Miller from the Expanse series could do it. You cannot. I'm sorry. Sinatra could do it. You cannot. When people talk about the incel with a neckbeard and a fedora, it's not a fedora. It is a trilby. So, it is up to me to bring the fedora back to its appropriate level of respect. And we can get rid of the trilbies that we got from Hot Topic when we were 15. A fedora, of course, is most often classically worn with a suit. A whole lot of people that try to affect that sort of 40s, 50s post-war style will use the fedora, but it can be worn with plenty of other things, like a sport coat or blazer like this one from a few moments ago. Or, and this is a little bit harder to do, it can even be worn casually as long as you pick out the right outfit. So don't be afraid to experiment. Try things that you feel like will work for you and discard what doesn't. It's going to be up to ultimately your sensory preference and your aesthetic. I want to talk about a couple more of these felt hats real quick. So this here is a classic pork pie. So it's got a smaller brim than the fedora from before, and the top is a little bit more rounded, giving it the sort of pie-shaped appearance, which is presumably where it gets its name, as opposed to the more angled top that the classic fedora has. Now, the rounded top and the smaller brim of the pork pie make it a great choice for dressing up casual wear. Because it is a felt hat with a brim, it's a little bit more formal by its nature, but it's a great choice for dressing up casual outfits like this one, which is, I think, why it became such an iconic hat in the Breaking Bad series, for example. Don't be afraid to use this with sport coats and, of course, suits as well. If you'd like me to go into even more niche hat-related topics, such as my very fine bowler here, if you'd like to see me model this, then let me know in the comments and I'll do a whole video about this by itself. But for now, I would like to move on to summer hats. For the summer, a lot of the hat shapes that you will find are similar to the felt hats, but they are just made out of lighter material. I've got a fedora, for example, on my head here, but I've also got a very lovely straw pork pie and nice insulated straw flat cap. And these can be worn mostly in the spring and summertime. You can probably get away with wearing them year-round if you live in a place where the winter isn't too harsh. I typically stick to the spring and summer where I'm at, and you can wear them with year-round suits like this one here, or you can also wear them with more summer weight outfits like this lovely cotton linen blend sport coat here. Now, a word, and this will be one of the final hats we talk about. This here is a straw pork pie. It is different than what you might have seen in movies, which is the true boater, which the main difference is how it's made. And of course, the boater is famous for having this very large band on it, and it's also very famous for its thickness. The straw pork pie is much thinner and more crushable. Now, the boater, if you are really gung-ho about your hats, the boater's a great collector's piece, and while it can be worn with summer outfits like this, it is most famously worn with the classic seersucker suit. If you'd like to know more about this legendary garment and would like to know ways to style your own, let us know about that in the comments, and we will consider doing a video for it for this How to Style series. That about is going to wrap it up for today. If you want to know about different winter hats, we've got a video about dressing for the winter here, or if there is a hat that we missed that you would like to hear about, then tell us about it, and make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss anything else coming from us. Thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Yes, I am bringing back the unironic hat tip. The incels can't have it anymore, alright? We're bringing it back, alright? Unironic hat tip to say hello to people. That's a cool thing to do again.